Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you watch this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad you're here. This video is going to be focusing on a few of my top USA made knives that are not going to cost you an arm and a leg. They're going to range from the small to kind of the medium, EDC size small. So apologize, I've been sharpening. But none of them are going to be super big, but they're all going to be very EDCable. Starting with this little SE Candura. Before we get started, real quickly, thank you to all the channel members. Thank you to anybody who comes in to check out my knife and EDC content. I really appreciate it. If you're so inclined, if you'd hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon, I would really appreciate it. But this is a little, I think, 1095 tool steel knife. I picked this up at Amazon. I will leave a link where I picked it up in the description. I want to say it was $75.99. And if I'm not mistaken, it is the smallest of the Esee knives. You know, Esee makes outdoor knives. They make some harder use knives. I've got an SE3. This is a little, maybe an EDC backpacker knife that's still got a very thick grind. It's still got that protective coating on the tool steel. It's got a very nice factory edge. It's a 3-finger knife, and I've seen these without the micarta scales with wrapping if you wanted that. I can't imagine it being any thinner because it fits my hand perfectly. Does not have a lanyard tube. Has micarta handles, and I get 3 fingers. The jimping holds it in there great. Give you a quick dimension because I do not want this video to run long. Right at 5 inches. So this will be the smallest little guy made in America, the SE Candura, and it is $75.99 today. The only downside that I say to it is this sheath. However, you can take off this buckle. I've been using it, and you can mount an ulti clip or use it as a neck knife. Coming in next and coming in hot is this little guy right here. This is the Tops Knives Hawke. This is another tiny little knife made in the USA, 1095 tool steel with Tops's coating, so it's going to be, you know, corrosion resistant, just like the Candura. It's going to be a smaller knife, just like the Candura. It's going to have a thicker grind, just like the Candura, and it's going to be very, very slicey. More on harder materials than on paper, but it will definitely, as I fail, it'll definitely cut paper. Has a great point. Still gives me 3 fingers. However, this one does have a little lanyard hole there where you could put a little tail on it. But for me, again, with the medium to large size hands, but for thinner fingers with that jimping, this to me feels better than the Candura, me personally. It's got G10 scale, G10 liner. They are not removable. I want to say this little guy is going to come in also right at 5 inches, and it is going to come in right at $85 on Amazon right now. So this is a little $85 USA made 1095 EDC knife. I forget what kind of clip it came with. I put a single strap on it, carry it by my appendix. It works great. Fantastic little inexpensive knife. So moving on, we come to this Rainier FastPak, which gets into that kind of medium-sized EDC knife range. More of a maybe folder replacement type knife. I love this knife, guys. I put a link to Renier's website. These are not currently in stock, but I'm anticipating they will be back in stock. This knife is with a sheath. I put the clip on it. $109. It's full tang, L-Max construction. Very thin, kind of a field and game knife, but also, for me, a great sized EDC knife. It does have that little cut out there so you can use it as a bit driver if you must. I personally don't. But it came very, very slicey. It's got a tall hollow ground blade, or short hollow ground blade, but a long hollow ground blade. I love it. It is a fantastic knife. It is a small guy. You've got micarta handles, Elmax steel, right at $109. It's going to come in right at, we're going to call it 6.5 inches. You don't have anywhere for a lanyard, but you've got a full grip there. So if you're going from the back of the handle to the front, you're at 3.5 inches. I think it feels perfect. It carries perfect. I love this little knife. Super sharp, super effective. Made in the USA, 109 bucks at Rainier USA. So there is that. Moving on, we come to another cool little knife that I've shown on the channel before. This is one of my first small EDC knives that I got, and I have put this kind of through the ringer. This is my Tops Bull Trout. The Tops Bull Trout's in 154 cm. It is got probably one of the most inviting grips. It has got this micarta handle and literally this full grip with a lanyard tube if I wanted to add a short or long lanyard. But this choil perfectly encompasses this Skinner blade, right? So you've got this nice belly here, really thin, flat ground blade. Comes in right at 6 inches. I didn't do this on the others, but 3-inch blade, about a 2.5 inch cutting area. But guys, this is an absolute sushi slicer. So whether you're fielding game out in the, all my paper's getting moist, guys. I don't know why that is, and I'm hitting the choil. But it is very slicey, very thin ground, super little slicer. Even though I'm not doing it justice. Made in the USA. Again, I picked this up on Amazon. You can get them several other places too. I think there are a few left. And this guy is going to come in a little bit more expensive. It is like $149.95 where I saw it. But a nice knife. I've been beating the hell out of it. It's a great cardboard shredder. It is full tang construction. I love the aggressive jimping because it does trap your hand in with this handle and this little swell here. Just a great little knife. It came with a leather sheath. I picked up this Artemis sheath. I want to say that was another 35 bucks, but that's just how I carry my knives. Right now I've got it on these horizontal straps, but I've also ulti-clipped it. But that's the Tops Bull Trout, and it is a great, great little example. Moving on. We come to a really cool knife. They make this knife in what I consider to be this really cool sheep's footy, reverse tanto-y, pokey knife, but they also make it in a drop point. The drop point is called the G-Necker because it's a neck knife, and this one's called, for some reason, the G-Cleaver. I don't think it looks like a cleaver. I think it looks like, but that's what it's called. A great knife from Bradford, made in the USA. This is the Natrix finish. They also make it in black and in raw. It is a chunk of Elmax with a very nice flat ground blade. A really nice Kydex sheath. I put the ulti clip on it. It had a different clip on it that worked very, very well. But it is definitely sorry about that, guys. Definitely one of my slicier little knives. And it is a littler knife. It is, I think the reason they call it the G-Cleaver and the G-Necker, you could put a lanyard here. It is skeletonized, but it's thick. It's much thicker here on the handle than it is on the blade. You do have one grip, which kind of gives me 3 + 1 with my medium-sized fingers, kind of a 4-finger grip. If you had bigger fingers, a small lanyard would be really nice. but it is a smaller knife. It's going to come in right under 6 inches with about a 2.5 inch cutting area. This point is fantastic. That's why I picked the G-Cleaver over the G-Necker. They're both the same in terms of price. They're both the same in terms of materials. And this little guy I found, I want to say for $109, and I'll have links in the description. I just went and researched it before I did this to see what they're going for today. G-Cleaver, you can do it as a neck knife, do it as a pocket dropper, carry it as a side wipe. It is a great little knife. Next up, we've got this little guy. I had to show it. I had to share it. It's one of my favorites. I think it's one of the best buys out there. Unfortunately, this particular one is sold out now. You can find these. This is an LT Wright Frontier First. The LT Wrights are made right here in the USA. They're small batch knives where when I picked this knife up, there was probably a $300 to $400 difference in the type of knife that you could get. They were all this exact size. They were all Magna Cut. Mine just came with micarta scales and Magna Cut. You could get them with liners. You could get them with exotic scales. This little guy, which is a small, flat ground, handmade USA Magna Cut knife, comes in 5.5 inches with right under a 3-inch blade, right under a 2.5 inch cutting area. Got a great ferro rod striking, sharp spine, beautiful belt satin, $95 with this sheath. That is a $95 USA made Magna Cut pocket dropper, small knife. I love it. The Frontier First. I've got a link to it. You can bookmark it or put alert for when these come back in stock. They drop them. The last drop was all A2. They'll drop Magna Cut again, and they drop other blade steels. So the LT Wright, they've got a lot of different knives. I think they're all great. I'm just a small knife guy, so the Frontier First worked for me. I highly recommend it. But moving on, we come to our last knife, and I had to do some link digging to find this in stock for you. And there are two of these Guardian 3s. And what makes this one a little bit different is it is the Rex 45. Natrix finish, Rex 45, one of my favorite steels. I traded Shane for this knife because it was too small for him. His had the diamond checkered scales on it. I swapped it out for the contoured scales. Guys, this thing is one of the sharpest fixed blades I own. That's why I'm so big on Rex 45. I sharpened it down. It is absolutely devastatingly finger-eating sharp. But the Guardian 3 is a mid-sized knife with a nice choil for my hand. Does have a lanyard hole. Works very, very well. Comes with a sheath that I think does well, but you can buy all kinds of aftermarket sheaths for this guy because it's such a popular knife. Comes in 6 3/4 inches with about 3.5 inch blade. A little bit over maybe 3 1/4 inch cutting area. But guys, this knife is an absolute winner. This one in Rex 45 is $189 where I found it. And there's another one there with different handle material that's like $190. But you can find these in a lot of different blade steels, and they run the gamut in price point. You can find them much less, $120, $130. Rex 45 was my jam. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. But then you got the little LT Wright at under $100. You've got the G-Necker or G-Cleaver in L-Max, under $100. You've got the Hawke in 154 cm from Tops, and just right over $100. You've got the little L-Max FastPak, and we can find it in stock at Reneer's site or one of the retailers for $109. And then you've got the little Tops Hawke, which I really like this knife, for $85. And then the SE Candura, because it Candura, for, what did we decide it was? For $75.99. So these are right around the same price, guys. But gosh, $95 for this in MagnaCut. I think this was the buy out of the group. They're all fantastic. I could recommend any one of them to you guys if you were looking for a good, not super expensive USA made knife, but one that A, the company will stand behind it, and B, it's a good knife. Guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you all so much. If you remember, like the video, it allegedly helps me, or dislike it. But please, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your hearts, and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.